Hi there, it's Darlene from Darlene's Creative Studio. I just finished up doing a studio tour this past weekend, and I had a table set up in a rental studio space in an art school and gallery in the town that I live in. And a lot of people commented on my branding, how everything looked cohesive. All my products my logos and everything kind of looked cohesive. So I thought I'm going to do a little tutorial on how I created some of the boxes that I was using. But I also just wanted to really quickly go over how I try and keep that my branding the same. Most of my cards and things, the backs of my cards, I like to use craft colored cards and envelopes. That is kind of my theme. I go more this side than the whites and pinks and frillies and that type of thing. So most of my stuff has a craft card backing. As you can see, I cover most of it up, but most of my backgrounds are in that craft color. So when I made up my logo for my business cards, I went with a tea stained paper as the back of my logo. So that was kind of how I started out. I print my own business cards. You buy these at Walmart or Staples, the print your own business cards. And that way, whenever I run out, I could just print a couple more rather than ordering 500 or 1,000 and then something changes on my business card. So I have my handmade business card with my YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and my Etsy shop all on the back. And I print these up on my own. Now today I went out to Walmart to pick up some more glue, and I found these business cards. They're in a sheet and you put them through your printer, and I found them in an ivory color, which I'm going to switch to because I like to keep it in that earthy tones, and the white is a little stark for me. But anyway, so there was my business cards. I have a little sign that I make up and it uses my logo, and I have that as well sitting out on my table. I created my own little nameplate out of Scrabble pieces and one of the pieces from the Scrabble board, and that sits on my table, so everybody that walks in always says hi Darlene, because they know exactly who I am, even though they don't. And the other thing I switched to as well, I was printing out some labels to use on a lot of my products, and I actually purchased these craft colored labels, and I ordered my own stamp, and I actually print my own labels. So as I need them, I just print these up, and these are actually on the fronts of some of my products. I always put my little logo stamp on the front of my product. So everything that was on the table, everything that I sell, I create this band that goes around the product, and I always use, these are my old logos. These were ones that I printed on the printer. But again, I use that same logo and I use the band on all of my products, so they all look cohesive. And the band actually just tucks in the front so people can still open up the book and look inside the product. And these are my travel journals. So that's kind of basically my branding. I like to keep in that tone. So then I was putting together my stand, and I have some old wooden little tiny ironing boards that I use as my risers and whatnot. And then I picked up a box, let me just move this guy out of the way, from a store, and I put some of my journals in it. These are all the travel journals that I made while I was in the studio, because it was a working studio, so I was making things. This was an old, I think it was a Crayola box that held crayons, and I brought it home, and my sister came up the week on vacation, and she brought me tons and tons of this packing paper that they use at her work. And I've been shoving it in my closet, and she said, you know, I had all my stuff sitting in the box to carry over there, and she said, why don't you cover them and use the boxes? So I had 3 or 4 boxes there, and I just started to cover them with this packing paper, and it made a nice wrinkly effect. But again, it's that theme that I have of the craft cardstock. It just blended well. It kind of disappeared into the back of the stand. Nobody really noticed the box. They noticed the product more. So what I normally do is just take a game box, and this was the bottom of the box, and this was the top, and I've just actually cut it down because I'm actually going to put my canvas traveler's notebooks in here. So I made it fit for the product that I want. So I've just cut it down, and now I'm going to cover it with this paper. But it was originally this larger size. And all I do is just good old Mod Podge, put it on here and glue it more or less onto the box and fold it all up, and I make sure that it goes in a little bit, and then this box will become that nice crafty color. And I also had a game that came with all these little tiny boxes, and I think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cover these in the craft paper and have it come right up over the edge, and then I can use these within, you know, holding some of my charms and stuff while I'm working in my studio, or if I'm on location and I have I try and demo something while I have my stuff out. I can actually have some of my products sitting in this, and they will all look cohesive. So that's just a little tidbit about branding. I just got so many comments on that my stuff all looked the same, and it was well presented. I just wanted to kind of share that with you. So I'm just going to go ahead and Mod Podge this this box, and I'll show you really quickly. Won't bore you to death, and I'll see if I can figure out how to fast forward through some of this stuff. But again, I just put on a nice light coat of the Mod Podge and spread it out fairly thin. You don't want it too thick, but you do want to make sure you go to the edges. And we're just going to spread that out. And this packing paper, it comes in little squares. It has perforations, but you actually have to either rip it or fold it and rip it very well. Like, the perforations hold on pretty well, so I can actually use a big long strip of it and you don't really see the perforations. But I'm just going to quickly do this, and we'll make sure we're right to the edges because that's important. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about branding and how to make your products look a little more cohesive when you're showing them, just let me know in the comments, and I'll go ahead and maybe put something together really quickly for you. So that's all I've done, is I just put the Mod Podge on the box, and then I just take my brayer and I quickly just roll it on and try and get out the air bubbles. And again, this is pretty straightforward. I think anybody who uses Mod Podge knows how to do this, and I just try and rub out any of the little air bubbles. But I like how it kind of wrinkles. It looks kind of like it has all these little wrinkles in it. So then I just flip it over, and I'll just go to one of the sides. Oops, slop everywhere. And this is messy. I always put my apron on because I always get messy. I had a really great show. Like I say, I rented a pop-up studio for the week, and I was making, trying to put together some Edith Holden note card journals to show at to have at the show, because I had made 10 of them up and ended up selling them before the show even started. So I did up 10 more really quickly, and the very first day, and I was just finishing them up while I was working in my studio, and someone walked in and ordered 3 of them before they were finished and said they'd come back, and then another lady walked in and ordered 3 more. So by the end of the day, I had 3 left in stock, and so they went pretty quickly, and then I had to make 10 more, and I have 4 of those left, and I may put those on my Etsy, or 3 maybe. I may put those on my Etsy shop. I know there's a couple of people out there that have been trying to order them from me, and every time I put them on my Etsy shop, I sell out really quickly and they don't get a chance. So I will contact you first before I list them and just let you know that I'm going to put some more on. I also have, and I'll do another video and just do a quick flip through of the ones that I have. I've also done some travel journals up really quickly, and I'm going to show you a demo of one that we drive to my son's house in Kennewick, Washington, and from Canada, and we do a 3-day car trip, and I normally write in a little journal about our mileage and the weather and where we stop and that kind of stuff and things we see. So I will actually use one of my travel journals, and I'll show you kind of what I do and how I use them. So now I'm just going to trim these edges. Put sideways so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to trim these edges so that it will go over top of the purple on the inside of the box. Put that guy around there. So we're just trimming this back a bit. Like that. So this will go in on the inside like that. And then I'm going to do these other two edges, and I'm going to... Sorry, I got out of frame there. Cut down there. Sorry, this is very fidgety. I'm trying to keep in frame while I'm doing this. My tabletop is just cluttered with stuff because I haven't unpacked from the show yet. I have to do an inventory of what I have and get a few more things listed on my Etsy shop. I also had... during the show, I had one of my canvas journals. I think I showed it to you just a second ago. I had one of those for a draw with some fabric markers, and I had one of my bags that I made, colored, as a demo, and people kept asking if they could buy the bag. And I kept saying, no, this is mine. So I gave one of the canvas journals away as a draw. And I may actually try and do a little challenge for people to order a canvas journal, or who order a canvas journal from me, and see if they can color or design something on the canvas journals, and then maybe post it to my Facebook page or Instagram and share it with me to my studio, and just kind of see what some of the designs people can come up with. It'd be really neat to see. My sister's going to do some mandalas on hers, so it'll be very interesting to see what people can come up with. And again, I'm just going to cut these sides down and glue that flap down. And you get the gist of this. I just wanted to kind of show you how to recycle. I recycle everything. I'm a huge recycler, and I don't like to have like a lot of plastic bins. I'll use baskets if I can in my displays. But this was just a really neat idea my sister came up with, and it worked out really well. So I thought I would share how easy it is to make up your own display and make it look a little more cohesive and a little more to your brand, if you will. And again, I'll have to put a little strip on there just to cover that purple. But I wanted to show you basically what I do. And then I will just flip these little edges in. Here, I'll turn it this way so you can see it. I'm just adding some Mod Podge in here. And then I will just flip that in. I'm just going to add a little more there to make sure it goes in. And then I just flip that edge in. Like so. And just give it a quick swoosh with the Mod Podge to make sure it's nice and flat. And I'll do the same thing to the other side. And just fold it in like so. So if you do a lot of lace in your products, you could use lace doilies and maybe line all your baskets with lace doilies, or you should have a certain look or theme to your product so that everything kind of looks like it belongs. There. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some over the edges of that. But that is basically, and then when it dries, it has this nice wrinkly effect. Look, it looks like fabric on the outside of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of this scrap and I'm going to fit it so that it has a little bit of an edge on there. So let's take this piece here. So I'm going to cut it to fit. Let's say this way. Okay, So I'm going to lay that on there like so. And take this piece off. So that when I glue this piece on, I will have that edge to flip over, and I will do the same to the other side so that we have that. It looks like part of the box. It's just the paper was only so wide, so I couldn't really create a flap to go on the inside of the box for this side. But this, she gave me at least 4 or 5 great big huge pieces of this packing paper, and I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all this stuff? And it just worked out really well. I think I'll do it this way, and then I can trim it back again. Let's trim my edge a bit. There, there's the edge. And again, we only need about 1.5 inches going up the top. And we're going to flip it over. And we'll do the other side. Quick and easy, good way to recycle. You can use vintage wallpaper for your boxes. Just use what you have. Don't go out and buy all kinds of new fancy little things for your display. So there you go. I will do the other side as well. But what I'm going to put in there, I will have some of, these are the canvas journals I was telling you about, and I've got fabric markers, and I'm going to go ahead and it's got stuff in it, but I'll show you what I was talking about. So this is a canvas bag that I bought at a store, and I used fabric markers to draw a house on the side. Now this isn't my drawing, I found it online and drew it on there. So I used fabric markers for this. The sky behind, I ended up using acrylic paint because I didn't want to waste my markers. But I literally just drew out the house, colored it in with my fabric markers. Oop, sorry, there's stuff inside this. And here's the other side as well. And the clouds I painted with white acrylic, and the sky in the ground. But the houses were drawn with the fabric markers. So I had this on display as a sample with the canvas journal. And I had a set of fabric markers with this, and I gave away a free draw. So I created this box because I had about 10 of these, and I just want to be able to set them nicely in a box on their own. So I have all my products kind of separated, so I would have the canvas journal say in there, and then like I say, the travel journals and my envelope journals are all in this little box, and they all fit perfectly. So everything just, I had a nice white tablecloth, and then all my products, and so my products really stood out on the table rather than with all the colors that I use in my journals. I had a green tablecloth when I first set up, and all the colors disappeared in amongst the green tablecloth. So a white tablecloth, and then like I say, I just put them in these little boxes, and it just looked a lot better set up. So that's just a quick little tutorial, quick little idea of how to set up a cohesive stand when you're doing a sale out of your house or your studio, even when you display your products in your studio and then you have somebody come in and visit and they want to see your products. It's nice to have them set up in a display so that people can see them looking nicely rather than scattered or just shoved in a box. So anyway, that's my quick tutorial today. I'm going to do a tutorial and show you some of the travel journals and the Edith Holden notebooks that I have that I'm putting on my Etsy shop. So that'll be coming up next. But if you do want to learn more about branding, please leave a comment and I will do a quick video and show you how to put it all together. Thanks so much.